And good morning, everybody. Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine. Today, we are going to talk about the ultimate guide to getting focused in business. So stick with us for Black Success Magazine, the podcast. Well, welcome, everybody. This is Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. Today, we are going to talk about getting focused in business. Is probably one of the biggest issues that we all have to deal with in business, where we're trying to multitask so many things. We're trying to get so many things done, and in the effort to do this, you get nothing done. So we're going to give you some great tips. We call this the ultimate guide to getting focused in business, and so I hope you get something out of it today. Before we get going on it, let's talk a little bit about Black Success Magazine, the podcast. So Black Success Magazine is all about success. That's all we talk about day in and day out. Even yesterday on Martin Luther King's birthday, we talked about success principles and leadership principles that Martin Luther King exemplified throughout his life. And so if you go to our website, which is at www.blacksuccessmagazine.com, you'll find all kinds of videos, articles, podcasts. Everything is about success. It's geared for you and for your business and in your life. So we really appreciate you being a part of it. You can also find us on Instagram or on Facebook, Twitter, that kind of stuff, or Apple Podcasts, which means you can go to you can go to your Siri and say, "Hey Siri, I want to hear Black Success Magazine, the podcast," and you will actually hear us. So let's talk about the ultimate guide to getting focused in business. Let's start with this, folks. Before you get going here, if you knowing how to focus, if you aren't able to do this, you will never be able to think clearly, solve problems, make decisions, or even remember things. I know personally, focusing on one thing has been something I have wrestled with my entire life. You can ask my siblings that I was the kind of guy who got things started all the time, just got them started, and then I would find something else that I would be interested in, and wasn't able to finish things. And it wasn't until literally late in life that I was able to start. And right now I'll be celebrating a birthday here in just a couple of more months. But it wasn't until it was later in life that I started to gain a hold of being able to focus on things. And I want to share those things with you today. So what makes staying focused so difficult? Well, let me tell you one of the dangers and why it's so important that you stay focused. There was a study that was done by the University of California that calculated that on average, people lost 25.26 minutes every time you get distracted from something. That means you get started in life doing something. Let's say you start doing, I don't know, you work on a paper, you work on something, and all of a sudden something distracts you. A bird flies by the window, a dog walks by, the phone rings, emails. It will take you on average 25.26 minutes to get back to what you're doing, which is a huge part of your day. Let's say that happens 3 or 4 times a day. Yeah, it can add up pretty quick. You'll lose. And now, especially, most of us are working out of our homes. It can be a game changer. Literally, part of your day could be gone because you're getting distracted. So let's talk about what makes it being, that's why it's so important. But let's talk about ways or what makes staying focused difficult. One, being physically unfit. Your body is so important to your well-being. So many of us think, oh, I can be, overweight, or I can be, have disease or something like that, and I'll be fine because I can still think. It doesn't. Your body works with your mind, and being unfit really, it can be such a game changer in your own life. People on average are very sedentary. And when you're sedentary, which means you don't get around a lot, that means you're kind of just weighed down a lot, and you get tired, you get bored. It all works together. So being sedentary, being unfit, is one of those. Many of you know I ride bikes. I ride all the time. I mean, before I rode bikes, excuse me, I was a runner, so I would train for marathons. And this has happened to me since I was 18 years of age. So most of my adult life, I would say all of my adult life, I've been a runner or I've exercised in some capacity. And I can tell in my own life when I have not been feeling good. I mean, when I can't get things done, my head's foggy and stuff like that. And it's really because I've gained so much weight and I literally can feel it. I mean, literally can feel things. I'm just not getting things done. And then I get on the scale and like, oh, shoot, I gained 15 pounds or whatever. So that's another thing. What you eat and drink. And especially with African Americans. And we eat, on average, probably on the worst side of most people groups. And we're not talking about, I'm not trying to just make a general statement. I'm being very factual. And it doesn't just happen to kids. It happens to adults too. Even when you grow up and you go, well, I'm not going to eat this or I'm not going to eat that, we tend to still eat the same way, which means we'll eat foods high in sodium, fried, a lot of sauces, foods with a lot of fat content in them, and it can affect us also. Things that you put in your digestive system. If you've got things that are weighing down in your stomach, it will definitely affect the way you feel during the day, especially a lack of vitamin B. Let's say you are worrying about things, you will get a foggy head because of a lack of vitamin B in your body. So we have to actually have a little more vitamin B. How about your emotional brain? Your emotional brain, which means you start worrying about things. The more you worry about things, the more energy it will drain from you. So you're working on a task. Let's say right now I'm working on our podcast, and we're talking about the ultimate guide to getting focused in business, right? So we're talking about this right now, but if I'm worrying about something else, I'm going to be distracted because of that. Because I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I've got to worry about this bill, or I've got to worry about this project or something like that. Those things can all work together to drain and to get you off of where you are going. Another thing is the way you feel about work. Yeah. Let's say you work at a position that you just don't like. You just don't like it. It's something about it that you just don't like. You don't like your boss. You don't like your coworkers. Those things can also get you distracted because you're thinking, I really don't want to be here all day long. I worked in construction for 15 years. I got in construction late in life, and I loved the work, but I loved the work, but I hated the work. You know what I mean? You love what you're doing. You just didn't like your surroundings. You just didn't like the environment, because I knew I was not where I wanted to be at. You could be in the same place where you're just doing something you just don't want to do. It is imperative that you start looking at those things and start going, okay, maybe I should change what I'm doing. Maybe I'm just not where I should be at. My wife, and I'll use her as an example, I don't think she would mind, was when we had a restaurant. My wife loved the restaurant business, but my wife really believed that she should be in something else because she's an interior designer. I mean, that's what she went to school for. She's a very creative soul. It's not that owning a restaurant was not where she, wasn't enjoyable work or wasn't an enjoyable surroundings, but was that where she should be? We sold her a restaurant, and she is now working as an interior designer, working for a really huge interior design group. And she comes home and she's like, oh, greatest day in the world. She's on top of the world, jumping up and down. She wants to go back to work. And that translates into her being able to focus when she's at work. It doesn't matter what happens at work. She is there. She's in it. I, on occasion, will call her up, and she doesn't even have time to talk to me. I'm the love of her life. And she can't talk to me. You know why? Because she loves what she's doing and she's focused on it. It might be tough work, but she loves it. And that's important in work. So the way you feel about your work can destroy your productivity, your focus, if you have a negative point of view about your business. Let me tell you, I have a chart here. Oh, where's my chart at? Oh, here it is. Here's a chart that talks about feelings and how you will feel about and how those feelings contribute or take away from your way of focusing. So negative thoughts like worrying, frustration, anger, dislike, disappointment all take away from your ability, from your emotional man, which translates into you not being able to focus on things. But thoughts like confidence. Oh, I know I can get this thing done. I know. That's where my wife is right now. She's so confident in what she's doing that she knows she's going to get this thing done. Satisfaction. Like your boss trusts you. You're satisfied with the work. You can look back at your work and you go, this is it. I know it. This is great work I've done. Calmness. You can complete this urgent task together. So you're calm about what you're doing because you know what you're doing. I can do this in my sleep. I don't even have to worry about this. Even if I have a time constraint, I can get this done because I know I can get this done. Excitement, where you're launching a new product. You're excited about a new product that you're launching. You're going, oh, guys, I got this new thing. Like when we were launching Black Success Magazine. Oh, I'll tell you, I stayed up late at night doing edits and stuff like that because I knew this thing was going out. It was coming out in another week or so. We're working on a new show called Las Vegas Speaks right now. Oh, very excited about that. This is probably one of the most exciting things we're doing. That makes it so you can focus on things. That recharges me. It keeps me It keeps me engaged in what we're doing. Lastly, joy. Joy comes when you finally get that promotion. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. So you just get excited about things. So those are some things, those are some emotions that actually just contribute to you being able to focus on things. Let's talk about number 3, too many distractions. So when you are distracted, folks, we all have distractions in life. There's no doubt about it. We're going to continue to have distractions in life. But when you have too many distractions caused by technology has come into our lives, and it's supposed to, make things much better for you, which no doubt it does. But those same technologies can actually make it so it's tougher for us to get things done in life, especially things like emails, phones that are just kind of notifying me all the time. This is my iPhone. Text messages, social media notifications. Those things can all just suck the life out of you and get you off of your game. Once again, we talked about this before. It takes 25.26 minutes to regain your focus on average. Every time the email notification comes on, okay? Every time sometimes somebody text message you or something like that, gets you off your game. You're focusing on one thing, and then all of a sudden, somebody decides that they want to talk to you and they want to do their agenda, which may not be your agenda at all. Those distractions are costly. And as we were saying, every time you're distracted, 25 minutes, 26 seconds gets out of your day. We're not talking 25 seconds comes out of your day. 25 minutes of your day is gone because now you have to re-rack. You've got to retool. You've got to get back in your game. You've got to get your mojo back on average. Sometimes it could be longer. Sometimes it'd be shorter. How about multitasking through the day? We call this multitasking meltdown. When we talk about multitasking, and most people think, I can multitask. I can get a couple of things done at the same time. On average, there are only 2% of the people on the planet who are actually able to multitask effectively or efficiently. 98% of the people cannot multitask effectively, which puts us all, we're all thinking, well, I'm one of the 2%. Okay, folks, I try to multitask all the time. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You know what happens? You end up doing two things at the same time, which generally doesn't work out really well. Like I will try to mix down my podcast while trying to do graphics at the same time. Okay, it doesn't work. You end up getting both of them done. It takes you longer to do them both, as opposed to you just focusing on one thing. Tyler Perry said something very interesting. He said that you, as a business owner, focus on one thing. Focus on one thing in life. And once you get that one thing done and you're able to get really good at it, then you can do other things. In his life, and Tyler Perry now is, I think he's closer to 50 now, isn't he? I believe he is. Now in life, Tyler Perry is able to do anything he wants. He's got the rest of his life to do whatever he wants. But he had to spend all of his time early on working on one thing, and that was getting that one play up and running. That's really what he focused all of his time. All of his efforts, all of his energy were put into that one thing. If you put all of your efforts and all of your energy into one thing, you will get them done. If not, you're going to be into that multitasking meltdown where you end up doing two things, maybe three things. Sometimes people try to do four things all at the same time, and you're just doing things at the same time. You switch to a new task without completing the original one that you're working on. That's another thing that happens. You just kind of, well, I was starting to do this one thing, but you know what? This one got a little bit more, is taking more of my time. So I just switched into that other thing, which means you didn't get that first thing done. And number three, you rapidly cycle back and forth between the task, which gives the illusion that you're getting things done or that you're among the 2% who effectively multitask, but you really don't. It just doesn't work. Human beings are not designed to do this kind of cognitive, they call it cognitive shuffling. Okay. You're just kind of, you think to yourself, oh, I can do this. You have split brains. At this point in our human evolution, we're not there yet. There's only a minute people who can do this. People end up with a nasty buildup of this is my big word of the day, attention residue. Okay. Attention residue when it comes to switching between tasks, which means you're doing one thing, but you're actually still thinking about another thing. That's called attention residue. It's my big word of the day. So you can actually write that one down. Constantly shifting between tasks can cost you about, get this, 40% or 16 hours of your work week. Oh my gosh. If you knew that you trying to multitask was basically taking, 2 days out of your work week, would you do it? No. Stop doing it. Okay, let's stop trying to multitask. Focus on one thing. We'll talk about how to do that in just a minute. But those are some of the things that can help you that just take away. They take away from what you're doing. Another thing I was thinking about was a thing that distracts you is that you don't finish things that you should have done before. Okay? And this is different than multitasking. When you leave loose ends, we call this loose ends. When you leave loose ends, you are always thinking about those things while you're in the present moment. So you're actually not present because you're thinking about those things. Let's say you didn't complete a project, or you didn't finish a phone call. So finish the one thing before you go on to the next thing. That's different than multitasking. When you're multitasking, you're trying to do two things at the same time. But when you have when you have loose ends, that means you forgot something. You forgot something that you didn't do. You should have gotten it done. Get it done. Okay, there's nothing. It will save you time in the future because you won't be thinking about that while you're trying to get your present moment things done. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so how to focus. Let's talk about how to focus in a distracted world right now. Let's talk, how do you focus? Okay, one, block out uninterrupted uninterrupted work time. There, just like you would plan a meeting. So if you're planning a meeting, you schedule, let's say you've got your Google Calendar, you've got your Outlook calendar, you block out time for meetings. We all do it. I do it every single day. Work has to be the same way. You block out time where you say, okay, this is my uninterrupted time that I am going to work. It might take you to having to close your door, like I do, because my door is closed. Everybody knows, don't come in here. Okay, they know not to come in. There was a time when I probably thought it would be a good idea to put on headphones, but if you leave the door open, people think, oh, he's got time to talk. I don't do that. So I close the door. This is my uninterrupted time. So when the door is open, you know you can interrupt me, but when it's closed, you cannot interrupt me because I am working on something. Most people will respect that. Even if you put on headphones and you say, okay, to give the illusion that you're listening to something, people will respect that. So you need to block out areas of time that you are going to get things done. And that's incredibly important. You can even put, and I didn't know this, you can even put a busy signal on your apps, on your phone, on your, and I'm going to do some research on this because I really want to find out how to do this because this is great stuff right here, so that you won't get notifications. So this is an interesting thing about it. Most apps that you get will ask you, can we give you notifications? Which means any moment that thing's going to go, bling, 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 bling. I get them now all the time. I went on to a couple of new sites, and they want to notify you all the time. I mean, my gosh, my email just goes all the time. Turn it off. Okay, turn them off. I mean, there's apps that you can actually get that will actually do that too. Turn off those notifications unless it is just imperative that you actually get these kind of notifications. Turn it off because that is the app's way, or whoever the developer or whoever the website, that's their agenda. That may not be your agenda. Your agenda is to get things done during the day. You're using that app as a tool to get your things done, unless you actually positively must have a notification from that app or whatever thing that technology is, then just turn it off. Number 2, email batching. This is going to save you tons of stuff, folks. Tons of time. Emails don't come in all at one time. They generally come in throughout the day, all day long. And if you are the kind of person who leaves their email browser open, let's say you have Outlook or you have Google or whatever it is, it will ding, ding, ding all day long. You can actually turn that off, or you can batch those emails so they all come in at the same time. Generally, when you have time to look at them, it could be, and you can set a time that those emails will come in. But because most people, if an email comes in, you'll go, oh, and you'll turn over and you'll go, oh, I want to answer that email. Or Facebook, somebody on Facebook comes in and they want to notify you on something. I don't turn on Facebook in the morning now, especially when I'm doing podcasts, because people will see. I mean, people don't recognize that you're actually doing something that is a part of your schedule. So they'll just kind of notify you or whatever, or that you're part of the string of people that they want to notify. So it will come up and you will look over, and once again, it gets you off track. You're trying to focus on getting things done, and that notification comes up. So you can actually carve out time so that you can look at your emails. Try to do that as opposed to just trying to let them come by all the time. I know some people are going, yeah, I know. Emails are just, I love them, but they are what they are. Turn technology from distractions into a useful tool. I want to read this. These days, people are locked to their phones. I mean, they are. I don't have my phone too far away from me. And if I did not watch it, it would just vibrate, buzz. I generally never have my ringer on in my phone because it will ring all day long. I have it on vibrate, but I generally do not have it as far as ringing, because I do things all day long and I don't want my phone ringing. My phone, I answer my phone calls when it's convenient for me, not when it's convenient for everybody else. Okay, does that make sense? And you're not being narcissistic. You're not being, you know, um, bougie or anything like that. You're being a business person, and business people control technology. Technology does not control them. So turn off those email alerts. Okay, app notifications. Set your phone to go straight to voicemail, which I do a lot of times. People go, "Man, I didn't get to talk to you." Well, because I'm busy. I'm very busy during the day, and especially certain parts of the day, you're probably not going to get a hold of me at all. You can even create auto responses to incoming text messages. I got to figure that out, because sometimes, and it depends on what season of the year it is, you will get text messages in batches all day long. Instead of you them give Instead of you just ignoring them, there's an auto response feature that you can actually do. I'm learning that. I got to get that done. Okay, let's move on. Um, let's set a schedule for distractions. This is the way your body, most people on average can only spend about 52 minutes in complete focused work. So set distraction time for you. Set a distraction time. Okay, instead of just trying to power through it, you're just trying to power through it. Okay, generally at some point you're going to go, and you'll look over to the side. Oh, wow, there's a speaker, and then you will start playing with it, and you've just lost your momentum. You forgot what you were doing now. Instead of doing that, avoid that. Set a distraction period for you. Work about 50 minutes, and then take about 10 minutes or so off. Okay, take 15 minutes off, because your body needs that. You'll need that to just, to recharge yourself, because your body's going to go into a lull period, and then you want to go back to what you are doing. Let's talk about some techniques to get you more focused. Okay, in the last couple minutes, I'm going to go through these really quickly. You need to anticipate your internal needs. Many of us know when we're most focused, when we're most energy, and those things that or those times of day that we know we're going to start getting distracted. We know that at 11 o'clock, we're going to get tired, we're going to get hungry. At 3 o'clock, I'm done, or something like that. Let's anticipate those times so you can start doing the things that you need to get done earlier in the day, or during those power times that you're going to get done. So anticipate those needs. Anticipate when you're going to need to get some food. Leave food next to you, okay? Because you know that you're going to be getting hungry. So put food next to you on the table, so that you don't have to get up and go to the kitchen to get food and lose a half an hour when you're eating. Practice mindfulness. And what we talk about is mindfulness. We need to clear our minds. It is very tough to stay focused all day long and not, just start wandering. How about just sit back for a minute and just let your mind go blank? Just think of nothing. Relax, put your head back, if you've got a dog like I do, rub the dog for a minute. Just a minute, get your mind off of everything else. Breathe in deep. Just kind of, feel the sensation of air going through your lungs. You might read your Bible, meditate on something, but just get distracted from something for just a minute, and then come back to your work. Okay, then get back to your work. Number 2, exercise regularly. Get out of the habit of not exercising. Get back in exercising, vigorous exercising, because all those endorphins, the neurons, all of the things that happen as a result of you exercising are going to work for your good. And we're running out of time, so I can't give you the rest of them. So anyways, folks, this has been Sherman Wright, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. If you'd like to email me, folks, you'd like to be in our magazine, Black Success Magazine, send me an email at info@blacksuccessmagazine.com. Once again, you can go to our website and check out all of the cool stuff we've got on our website at blacksuccessmagazine.com. And we will see you again tomorrow. For Black Success Magazine, the podcast, Spin Sherman Ray. We'll talk later.